Warriors or Immortals? What's the best troops choice? Time for another Necron Natter. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, time for another Necron Natter. And in this one I want to have a chat about the Necron Troop choices. Just a chilled chat, just me throwing some thoughts and ideas out to you guys, and hope that I get some responses back, some comments and feedback, and we can just learn from each other. So let's have a quick cup of coffee. I'm using my Without a Clue WarGaming mug. Go and check the channel out, I'll put a link in the description below. Awesome channel. Yeah, so I'm going to start off a little backstory, I suppose. I've been playing Necrons obviously for quite some time, and when I first started up we just have one troop's choice, and that was the Necron Warrior. So I've been playing Necron Warriors for a very long time, and they had fairly similar stats to what they have now, except they had a 3+ save. And that was awesome. And I have to be honest, when the new Codex came out, not the one we're on now, but the previous one, and they dropped that save down to a 4+ save, that was really disappointing to see. We were hoping to have more troops choices with that new release. I personally was hoping that flayed ones would get into the troops choice, which is basically a close combat warrior, but that didn't actually happen. But what did happen is the Immortals, that were an elite choice, were moved into the troops choice section, and that did have a 3+ save. So it was almost like I felt that Games Workshop were pushing Immortals onto us, especially, as we've already discussed in a previous video, the fact that they released a brand new Immortal model that had a really cool new gun option. So it seems like they were baiting us into buying new Immortals, because Immortals will now have the 3+ save and Warriors only had 4+ save, and oh hey ho, here we go, we've got a new kit and it's got a new gun option. So you're going to want to buy the new kit, you're going to want the new gun option, you're not going to want to use your old metal Warriors, Immortals. So that's what it felt like, and fair play. That's probably good business practice, isn't it? However, over time, I actually discovered, literally just through playing, that the Warriors with a 4+ save isn't actually that bad. Now let's first have a look at the current Codex and the composition of the units. So Warriors, they're in units of 10 to 20. They cost 13 points each, and then you have your Immortals, and they're from units of 5 to 10, and they are 17 points each, so a bit more expensive, but you can have a minimum unit. So if you went for minimum size, Immortals are only 85 points and Warriors are 130 points. And then the main difference is a 3+ save on Immortals as opposed to a 4+ on Warriors, and then you have a strength 5 gun on the Immortals, which you can upgrade for a Tesla if you prefer. Otherwise it's a strength 4 gun for the Warriors. The Warriors AP is AP 5 and the Immortals AP is AP 4, so a worthy extra few points. And just the fact that you can take 5 rather than the 10 means if you are looking to have the minimum points put into your troops choices, then 85 points is actually really good. And not only that, but with the 3+ save, a small unit of Immortals is a lot more survivable than if you could only take a unit of 5 Warriors. Of course you can't take a unit of 5 Warriors, so the minimum is 10. And I think that's where the choice becomes hard, because in the previous Codex you could have 5 Warriors. So it was, well, 5 Warriors, 5 Immortals, the Immortals are going to survive a lot more. But now it's 5 Immortals and 10 Warriors. And once you've got 10 bodies in a unit, even though they've only got a 4+ save, they're still pretty difficult to kill. To the point that I would say they're probably equal in terms of difficulty to kill. assuming obviously people don't have really good guns shooting at you, but assuming you're going to get your 3+ save and then either a 5+ RP or a 4+ RP, I would say that having 5 Immortals with those stats against 10 Warriors which have a 4+ save and then a 4+ or 5+ RP, depending if you're in the Dekorion. So what I'm trying to say is, in terms of survivability, they're probably about equal under normal circumstances. Now, quite interesting, we're talking about the Dekorion there. So in the Dekorion, funny enough, you have to take a Decorion Legion, which consists of 2 squads of Warriors and 1 squad of Immortal. And I think actually Games Workshop have hit the nail on the head, because I think that's a great combination of troops. Because Warriors are very survivable. A unit of 10 Warriors is a good amount of Warriors to have on the table. Of course, that means you've got 10 guns there, potentially rapid fire range. And then Immortals, you've got that sort of smaller survivable unit, probably an ideal unit to keep on an objective, whilst the Warriors can push forward. It's also quite a nice place to put your HQ in with those Immortals, maybe at the back. If you're playing a more defensive army, put your HQ in that unit at the back. So if you've just got, say, a cheap Overlord, it's not really going to do much, doesn't have many upgrade options. You're putting your points into your Canaptic Harvest or your Destroyer Cults or your Triarch, whatever it's called. Yeah, so you can put that at the back, hide it, and you know, amongst 5 guys, yeah, okay, it's only 5 guys, but you've got a 3+ save, you could be in cover, you can go to ground, you've got RP on there, and again, if you're in Dekorion, that's a 4+ RP, so that's a 3+ save or a 4+ potential cover save if you go to ground, and then you've got a 4+ RP, you've got a good chance of surviving. So I find that pretty useful. Transport wise, the Immortals of course can go into a Night Scythe. Another potential good option if you want a mobile troops choice. If you're in the Dekorion, of course, they won't be objective secure. Outside the Dekorion they will be. But again, it's a good option to have Immortals piling out of a Night Scythe with a strength 5 rapid fire gun, a 3+ save. They're pretty survivable if you're going to isolate them out of a Night Scythe. So definitely a good option. And then Warriors, again, Warriors can take the Ghost Arc, which obviously Immortals can't, so you can put your 10 Warriors in a Ghost Arc. Attaching HQ becomes a problem because the Ghost Arc won't actually take the HQ, but it's just in terms of a gunboat, it's a really, really nice tank. It's got a good amount of hull points, 4 hull points, and of course you've got the quantum shielding, which is really, really useful. And you can obviously move and shoot. Your gun, even though it's salvo, counts as stationary, so you get a good amount of shots. You can shoot at different targets, and it's overall a good option. Now, in terms of taking Ghost Arcs, because I do get a lot of people that tend to email me about army lists and stuff, what I always say to them, because I find a lot of people say, well, I'm going to take a Ghost Arc, and then the rest, if you look at the rest of the army, most of it's on foot, and it's like, well, is it worth taking 1 tank? Because what I find happens is, if you've only got 1 or maybe 2 tanks, or something which has a high armour penetration, then your opponent tends to put all of their guns that can destroy tanks into that tank. So it goes down very quickly. So I always find you either have to be all or nothing. So you either have a good amount of tanks to try and spread your opponent's anti-tank guns, or potentially even making it so that they don't have enough guns to cope with your amount of tanks that you have. Or you go the opposite to that and you don't take any tanks, and then you're almost nullifying your opponent's las cannons or whatever guns they've got. So I generally find just taking, say, 1 Ghost Arc isn't that great. A Night Scythe, that's different because that's a flyer, so you can get away just taking 1 flyer. There is an argument for taking 1 Ghost Arc and having your rest of your Warriors on foot, because then of course the Ghost Ark has the special ability to repair. So when you lose a few warriors on your on the ground, then you can repair them from the Ghost Ark. Well, that's all well and good, but you still end up with that problem. If you've only got one Ghost Ark, your opponent will probably take that down quite easily. However, if you have 2, maybe 3 Ghost Arks, still have that unit on foot, then you've got a great potential to keep that unit alive. And I have a whole list built around that, which is called the Super Flanks list, which I haven't played for a while actually. I'm going to have to get that out. So yeah, so the question is, which one is better? Immortals or Warriors? I have to be honest and say that they're both excellent. I think I would put Warriors as the best option because they're just so cheap. 130 points for 10. Okay, Immortals you can only spend 85 points and you get 5. But if you want 10, that's 170 points. So I like Warriors, and with some decent cover, Warriors are very survivable. And they've got a gun, an all-comers gun, and probably I would say the best gun on a Troop's Choice probably in the whole game. Let me know if you think different, but I mean the Gauze Flayer, what a great gun that is. Strength 4, AP5, rapid fire, can take out any monstrous creature, can glance any armour on 6s, strength 4, toughness 4, 4+ save, potential 4+, feel no pain, RP save, 130 points for 10. They're actually really solid Troop's Choice. But there is a huge reason to take Immortals, because Immortals, again, they're cheap. 85 points for 5. I know I keep saying that, but that is so cheap for what they can do. And if you want to put all of your points into other stuff, Immortals are actually quite a solid Troop's Choice. That 3+ save does make a huge difference. When I did my MSU list that I took to WarGames, I had 4 squads of 5 Immortals, and apart from one game, just one game, which was when I played Tau, I didn't get targeted with my troops at all, because I had all my flayed ones. I had 6 squads of 5 flayed ones. I had 6 squads of Wraiths. They were the targets. The only reason why the Tau player was shooting my Immortals was because he'd killed everything else and there was nothing else to shoot at, so he went on to my Immortals. But everyone else had just so much to deal with. So taking a little Troop's Choice, a small points Troop's Choice, the Immortals fit that bill really well. I just wasted points by taking Warriors in that particular list, and I think that's the thing. It depends on your list, of course. The other thing which I wanted to just reflect slightly back on a previous video about Tesla versus Gauls on Immortals. Well, if you're taking loads and loads of Warriors and they've all got Gauls weapons, and then you've got some other Gauls in your army as well from other units, then there's 100% an argument for taking Tesla on your Immortals. Because ultimately, if you've got 10 Immortals, I suppose even 5, they can generate a lot of shots from a distance, 24 inches. With that Tesla rule, bearing in mind that you've got enough stuff in your army to deal with anything that your opponent can throw at you in terms of tanks, or even high strength, high toughness creatures. And unless you're more than toughness 8, it's not going to make too much difference. You're going to be winning on 6s anyway. And then there is actually a huge place to have Tesla Immortals amongst your Gauls Warriors, and I think that hits the nail on the head of whether Warriors or Immortals are better. I think they're equal. I think they both have a fantastic place in our army, in our lists, and I think it's awesome that we have the options. I suppose points of your points come into effect in terms of the size of your armies. Generally, if I'm playing a smaller army, maybe 1,000 points, I probably would go for Immortals, So I think they're a bit more survivable with the smaller units, and they're cheaper, so I can get more stuff in the list. But on the whole, I have to say I look at Warriors first. That's the first choice, Warriors, backed up by some Immortals as well. So I think a good combination is where we're at. A combination of Warriors and Immortals. I'm going to stick my neck out and say I think Warriors are the best unit, but I think that there's a marginal difference, and I think there's a room for both in our armies, and I think both are a fantastic choice, both are a fantastic option. Okay, that's my little ramble. Let me know what you think. Let's build up some comments in the comments boxes below, so anyone who checks this video out can hit those up and read your comments, read your ideas. Let's get some feedback out there. Okay, that's it from me. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video.